NBA free agency starts 6 p.m. Eastern today, and one name now suddenly on the list of free agents is James Harden after he declines his $47 million option. To discuss this and more, we bring in Brian Windhorst, our ESPN NBA insider. Wendy, how we doing?
Wendy.
So
Chance.
How important is Harden declining this option for the Sixers? You talked about it a bit yesterday. Go a little bit deeper with us now.
Yeah, I mean, just keep in mind that a year ago he turned down a $200 million extension.
Mm-hmm.
When he when he got traded, they wanted him to opt into this contract. The Sixers wanted as part of this trade for him to opt into that contract. And different people may testify to different events, but he said he would, and then he didn't because he wanted to maximize even more money than potentially $47 million. And despite all that, he is now taking a major course shift. Now, you could argue that he's taking that course shift because his value is no longer $200 million in the market, and his value is not even any longer $47 million. But James has not reacted in a team-first manner before. And this is, as much as you can be team-first on a contract that averages over $30 million a year, which is what this is eventually going to be, I don't want to make it sound like he's being magnanimous, but this is a major shift from the way he's operated with his last two teams. So doing this will enable the Sixers to add at least 2, if not 3, role players around him, which will replenish the roster, which was depleted when they traded for him. And so from the Sixers' point of view, this is a victory. From Daryl Morey's point of view, this is a victory. And if he shows up in better condition in the fall and is a closer to player that he was when he first went to Brooklyn than when he came to Philly last year, which I think is possible, it's potentially a grand slam for the Sixers.
Wendy, can I tell you what else? And I know that James Harden has never been one that speaks out a lot. But for all the stuff that's happening around the industry with KD and Charles Barkley, with everything happening around Kyrie, and you saw that with Stephen A. Smith, like the one thing I like, which I'm paying attention to and I'm liking more and more from James Harden, on top of everything you just mentioned, like just seeing him go to work, right? Like there's something about, and I know a video came out, but I've also heard this, like just him starting the process of working, right? It's starting to me, even though the narrative has been about how much he's disrupted, how he got himself out of Houston, we can agree that he didn't handle that the right way. The situation in Brooklyn makes me think about it differently now, understanding more of the pieces around that and Kyrie and the power there. But like, see, that feels like everything is trending in the right direction for James Harden and Philly.
His choices over the last 2.5 years border from absurd to controversial.
Yes.
So when you have that as the baseline, the fact that he appears to be focusing on conditioning and attempting to be sort of not only magnanimous but realistic about his situation, does appear to be a step in the right direction. And we sometimes see players do this. Last year, Chris Paul did something like this with the Suns. He took a pay cut to help the Suns have some more flexibility. We could argue whether they actually use that flexibility, especially if they're about to let DeAndre Ayton leave. But he took a pay cut. The difference is that James Harden is 33 and Chris Paul was 36, 37. Harden is doing this a little earlier than I'm sure he ever planned to. But this is what we haven't seen from other players in this situation. When Carmelo Anthony got to a point in his career where he needed to adjust the way he played and viewed himself, he was very reluctant to do it, and it cost him. Russell Westbrook right now has to this point shown an inflexibility on where his reality is, and it's potentially going to cost him. Allen Iverson, same situation. James Harden, that was sort of on the horizon, I feel. And this decision that he had, and again, I don't want to go overboard about him, he's not getting the money because he's not getting the money. But this process that he's going through here indicates more of an acceptance of reality and him saying, look, I still have good years left in my career. I still can get a championship, but I've got to be sort of an active participant in that. I can't just show up. And I think that's a positive. And if you're a Sixer fan, you have to at least like what you're seeing right now.
Wendy, what does this do for Joel Embiid, a guy who essentially has been let down time and time again by the organization, whether it was the Jimmy Butler situation or whether it was Ben Simmons kind of, going on his way to the point where Philadelphia fans decided it was probably best for him to go in another direction. Where does this lead Joel Embiid at, though?
He has been nothing but loyal to that organization, all the way back to when he was signing his first big contract, which, wasn't a full guarantee. He said, I believe in what we're doing. You believe in me. We're going to get through this together. And he just hasn't been able to do it. And one of the frustrations that he had at the end of last season was the team just didn't have enough. They didn't have enough depth, especially with the way Harden was playing. Harden wasn't playing well enough to justify the depth that they gave up. So here we have Harden helping. Not only because if PJ Tucker does sign today or tomorrow with the Sixers, that's a big James Harden recruit. James Harden has been recruiting PJ Tucker. This is what Joel Embiid has been looking for. He's been looking for a partner to help him. Would it have ideally been a more in his prime James Harden, who was more MVP level? Yeah, but Embiid has been looking for a partner, and so this steps, which is Harden doing things to help improve the team, taking advantage of Joel's prime, which is we're now in. Ultimately, I think he'd like to see Harden be a higher performer on the court. That's what's most important. But I have to believe that after watching Harden for the first couple of months, Embiid might have been a little worried, and this may be bringing him a little bit back towards this could work.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.